Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am here with part 4 of how to make a folio. I have from last time, I have the pieces that we made for this panel, and I'm going to glue those down so we can all see what it looks like. But just a reminder what we've done. We have the first panel that has the flip this way, and the flip, whoop, the glue just gets underneath there. Flip this way with the gusseted pocket, and then we'll make a journaling card that will slide in here to keep these stationary. And then we made this gusseted envelope pocket right here with the little pocket up at the top. So I have an idea for what I want to do on this back panel. But first, I want to get all this glued down. So the way that I do it is I glue everything to this part, and then I glue this part onto here. So I'm going to flip this over. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to figure this out first. So it's this way and this way. So that means, let's see if I can tuck it under there. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. Just like that. So then I'm going to flip it. Okay, so now I know which side what needs to be glued to. First and foremost, I need to glue this down. So I'm just going to give it a little brush to make sure there's no particles or debris in there. And then I'm going to get my glue and make sure there's nothing stopping it up. And I'm going to glue on this outside right here, and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to glue just this part of the bottom, and then line it up and just press it down. Doesn't take long for it to dry, but I still like to hold it for just a minute. Sometimes it tries to pop up depending on how fat everything is, which I sometimes manage to get it pretty fat. I've just got stuff everywhere. Okay, so this is stuck, and I am happy with it. So now, yes, okay. So I'm going to put glue on this part that's not gusseted of this flap. I'm just gonna put some glue on there, and then get that out of the way. I'm going to glue it down to this, and I'm just gonna line it up where the gusset starts. There we go, with the edge of the bottom panel. These I like to give just a minute to dry, because if you don't, when you go to flip it over, everything falls apart. So I got to give it just a minute because it's got that tension from the gusset. So, and you can see it's not quite as long as that piece, and I just put it as close to the middle as I could get it. But then it flips in, and then you have your acetate pocket flip, and the top right here for loading. And then this one, I have to glue closed as well, and I'm going to do the same thing where I glue on the outside line down the stitching, or if you didn't stitch, just down the side, and then at the bottom, and then I'm going to close that and match it all up. Give it a good press. All right. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to put glue on that same spot, just the part that isn't gusseted on that flap. And I'm going to come not all the way to the bottom, but almost to the bottom, probably about, I'd say a little more than 1/4 of an inch above it. And I'm just going to line that up where the first line of the gusset is at the edge of the paper. And I'm going to press that down really well. And then, okay, so we're going to flip this over this way. And then there you go. You have a flap here and a flap here, and then your big belly band in the center. So we're going to go ahead and glue that in. I'm going to glue it in right here on this side. Move my strings out the way. And then I'm just going to do glue around the edge, all the edges here. And then just kind of get a little bit going on in the middle here. There we go. And then we are going to set it down, and I try to line it up just over that gusset line, just over 1 to 2 of them, and line it up with the bottom to make sure that it's even, and then I open it up and press down. And then I need to make sure that it pressed on that side of the gusset, and then there we go. So there is our third panel. So now we're going to work on our fourth panel, and I think what we're going to do on this panel is a large side-loading envelope. I like to make these towards the back of a folio because that way it can hold all the stuff you don't know exactly what to do with yet, or your building blocks like your different ephemera and your coffee dyed paper and stuff like that, so you have it in one place, and when you're working on it you can just pull it out and it's all right there in your journal. So the easiest way I think to do this can be complicated if you let it be, but if you just watch your lines and pay attention to where you're cutting and where you're folding as you normally would, you will be just fine. So I'm going to use this sheet of paper. I think it's really pretty. I'm trying to figure out, I think this is right side up. So I'm actually going to turn it on its side then, and I'm going to line it up here. Now this will be gusseted, so I will want some on the edges and a little bit at the bottom. So I'm going to mark this. Let's see, I don't know if I want, yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to cut any off of it yet, and I'm going to mark it here at the top where it meets the folio base, and at the bottom where it meets the folio base, because that's where my folds are going to go with the gussets for the bottom of the envelope. Now I'm going to pull it back so I can see this, and I'm going to look here and see where I need to cut it to where I have the top and the bottom. Now I know I want a little bit of a lip, a little bit of a gusset on the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and just mark that probably about a little, I don't know if that's 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch. I'm not very good with my measurements, so I'm going to measure that, and it's almost a 1/2 inch. So about a 1/2 inch from the end, just make a little mark because you're going to fold that. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up where I want it, which is about 1 to 2 lines into my gusset here. And I'm going to mark about, I keep seeing measurements and I have no idea if I'm right. Yeah, about 1/8 of an inch off that side there, which will be the top of the envelope. I'm just going to make a little mark right there. So just to recap, you should have a mark on each side, one at the top of where the folio starts and at the bottom where it ends. And then you pull this down so you can see how long it is, and you mark about almost a 1/2 inch from the bottom for that gusset. And then when you line that up where you want it, you make a mark about 1/8 inch off of this side, because that's where we're going to cut it. So we're going to go ahead and make the cut so that we can make the top. So let's see here. Let me move a couple things, get my cutting board out. Move this. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and find my little mark, which I believe, yeah, it's right there. And then this is the bottom of the envelope, and I'm going to set it to the side because it's ready to go. I need to work, actually, we're going to need that right now, because in order to make this as wide as this will be after it's folded, we need to match it up so that the picture matches. So let's see here. I've got the mark here, so I'm going to line these up with each other. And I'm just going to let it peek out just enough to where I can see this mark. Let me see if you can see that little pencil mark right there. And yeah, right there. And I'm going to make sure that I'm even and I'm lined up. And I'm going to mark the other paper in the exact same spot. So just right there. And then I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a pencil mark on the sheet of paper right below it or above it, however you put it on there. And then, let's see, I'm going to take the part that was the bottom and I'm going to set it to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the edges off of what's going to be the top flap of the envelope. So I've got my pencil mark here and my pencil mark here. All right, so I have, this is going to be the top flap. Now this, there's a lot of leeway to this one. It depends on how far you want the flap to come over, and that's pretty much the gist of it, and how wide you want the flap to come over, how much of a gusset you want. So I'm looking at this, and I don't want it to come too far over, but I'm thinking, what is that about? I'm going to say 2 inches. I am going to, what is it about Fabri-Tac that causes it to do the geyser? I will never understand it. It just leaks. Okay, sorry, I'm getting glue off my fingers now because I had to get it off of my dauber. Okay, all right, so I'm going to mark this at 2 inches. I'm just going to use my little mat here so I know where I want that fold, and then I want about probably an inch worth of gusset. So I'm going to go ahead and mark at the next inch, and then we'll cut off the excess that we don't need after we get it, after we do the scoring. I couldn't think of it. My brain was just like no words were coming to mind. So I just did one line right here, and then, oh no, we're not doing just one line. We're doing all of the lines from that first line all the way to the second mark. So the 2 marks you made, you're going to hit every score line in between them, however wide you made it. If you didn't make as wide of a gusset as me, it won't take you as long. But oh no, this is what happens when you press too hard, friends. Okay, so I'm going to use some washi tape to fix this, because like I said, this is one of the reasons that videos are hard for me, because I make constant errors. I'm on that fold right there of my scoreboard. Let's see if I can get this scored all the way. Okay, so now I need to find a washi tape and all of my washi tapes that will go with this theme. That one's pretty. I wonder if that'll go. Come here. I thought I had a dark blue with flowers somewhere close to the front, but this basket is one that I'm just not gonna go through right now. Okay, so we're gonna use this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just pull a piece and do the whole length right there, all the way to the edge. It'll just help it a little bit. And then I'm going to clip off the excess. Oh, goodness. Okay, so then you're going to fold the outside edges of your gussets. If I can find mine, because I put washi tape over it. There we go. And I'm going to just give that a good press, and then kind of squeeze this a little bit just to get it manipulated to a rounded form. Maybe. I'll tell you, I have just had a day-to-day. Mondays are always rough for me because I come off of a 40-hour weekend, and then it's just never good. I have no idea when I'm posting this video. However, right now it's Monday. And I am a little rough for wear. Okay, so this is what it should look like. You have your gusset at the top, and then you have your 2-inch flap, and then you have the back here. Now I'm going to take a little off the back. You don't have to. It's just my preference. I'm going to take off about 1 inch. Let me make sure. Yeah, about 1 inch. Okay. Now I'm going to round these corners with my biggest corner rounder. And then I'm going to set this to the side. We will ink all that up here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the folding on this one. So I need to, right on this side, let's see. First, I'm going to do the bottom flap. So I'm going to line my little markup with one of these valleys or crevices, and I'm going to mark, I'm going to go all the way down with it. Was I not straight? I don't feel like I was straight. There we go. Okay. So I have my bottom. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to line up the little mark on this side with one of those little crevices, and I'm going to come up 1, and then I'm going to go down 3, and I'm going to do another score line, and I'm going to come down 3 again and do another score line. So you should have 3 score lines that are a quarter of an inch apart. And then I'm going to flip it over because I like to work on this side, and I'm going to line my mark up again, which is right there, and I'm going to do a line. I'm going to go down 3 and do a line, and I'm going to go down 3 and do a line. So it should leave you plenty of room to glue it down. So now I'm going to flip it over so I can see my my score lines a little better. And I'm going to stand up so I can show you how to do this. I'm going to cut like we did in one of the earlier videos. I'm going to cut right here at an angle up into the corner, and then I'm going to turn my scissors and kind of cut at a semicircle angle to the offside. And then this one I have to do this way because I am not left-handed, and I'm going to cut up to that corner, and then I'm going to take my scissors and angle them off. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. And then I'm going to fold up the bottom, and I'm going to fold the sides, and you'll fold down on the first score line, and then up on the second score line, and down on that third score line. So you have that little guy right there, just 2 mountains and a valley. And the same over here. I'm going to fold down on this score line, up on the middle score line, and then down on the third score line. And then you have this, essentially. And see, this will go right over the top, and you'll have an envelope. Now I need to probably cut, I don't know if I need to cut that, angle those yet. I know I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them. So in order for this to fit in behind that, I need to angle these a little bit. So I'm just gonna come down here and I'm gonna cut about that. Let's see, how far over is that? I'd say a little over 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to angle it to the corner where the gusset starts right there. And I'm going to just cut it off at an angle right there. And the same on this side. I'm going to do about a little over 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to cut straight to that corner. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's even, friends. It just, because it's going to be behind here, but it'll sit better. It'll slide in there better if it's like that. So, okay, let's see here. I need to turn my heater down. Okay, so now we're going to ink these pieces up, if I didn't ruin my dauber. And I'm going to ink the gussets and the bottom. And then this side. And then, do we want a notch in there? Yeah, maybe, yeah, we'll do one towards the top. I'm just gonna barely put it in there with my circle punch and then just get a little notch going. And then ink up this edge. I always try to leave a little, or put a little extra ink in the corners just to give it that good grungy look. All right, so the bottom is inked and ready to go, and now we're going to do the top. I'm just going to ink it up. And then I'm going to fold this gusset down and try to give it a good inking right there, and then just kind of wipe a little bit of that ink throughout these gussets here. I always try to do those edges, but this is all going to be glued down, so it doesn't have to be inked up. So normally I don't sew these envelopes, and I am just not going to start today. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this in and finish this panel today. Now you absolutely can put this in your sewing machine and sew around this edge and around this here if you want to. I just don't do that. So this should fit pretty perfectly right on top of your panel. Yeah. So I'm going to get the glue and I'm going to put it on, come on glue, on this flap and some on this flap. And then some on the bottom flap. Okay. Stay. And then we are going, I'm going to line it up at the bottom as best I can. And the top, because I know I wanted it about 1/8 of an inch from the top. And then I'm going to push that down. I hope my bottom flap is down, which it is. And then my other flap just went right into place. And I'm just going to check those, make sure everything is where I want it. Oop, we're popping up already. I'm just going to hold this down for a minute. press that down. All right. So you can see we've got a nice deep pocket right here. And now this is going to slide right in here and be glued down. And I'm going to use a little bit more of that washi tape on the inside of this. Now you are more, I mean, if you don't like the white, grunge it up or do some, you can cover it with other paper, whatever you want to do. It is your baby, but I've always just left it in envelopes because you don't really see the inside of the envelope that often. It's just you that sees it. So for a cosmetic appearance, it stays closed, but I mean, it's just completely up to you. So I'm going to put some glue on this back flap, just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to line it up, pop it in there, make sure I'm under the gussets, and slide it in until the top the bottom line of the gusset is even with the top of the page. I don't know why it's like I'm getting stuck to it and I keep popping it out. Okay, so the bottom line of the gusset is going to line up with the top. And I'm just going to push that down. And we have an envelope. Now, you can do anything you want here for a closure. You can do a couple of circles with some brads and do a little figure 8. You can put a little circle here that this tucks into. I, however, am going to use my little Velcro dots. I got these on Amazon, and I think they're 1/4 inch. I'm going to use 2. And the way that I do it is I take one side and I stick it to the other side. And then I'm going to put one on probably about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the side, right there. And then I'm going to get another one and stick it to its other side and pull that off. And then 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the side, about there. Press that down, and then I'm going to, I don't want to push it all the way down because I want that gusset to be useful, and it won't be if the closure is way down here. So I'm going to kind of let it set naturally, and then I'm going to make sure it's lined up, and I'm going to press down where those 2 little Velcro dots are. And you have a closable envelope for all of your goodies. And I am making a mess here. Why? Okay, there we go. So my hands aren't working apparently. I'm not going to have dexterity today. Okay, so I'm going to put these back in here and put them up because if I don't, I will lose them forever. So now you can put a belly band on here. I'm trying to see if I have anything that I want to use. You could do a belly band, you could do a little pocket, you could decorate it and just put like a label up there. It's, you know, whatever you want to do. There's all kinds of things that you can do there. I just don't know if I'm going to or not. I don't think I am. I don't know, I'm looking. Maybe, I think I'll wait until we do the smaller touches to see if I'm going to add anything to that. But just to show you, this just pops right open, and then you have all this space, and it just closes right back up. Boom, there we go. So far we have these 2 panels and these 2 panels. And then next time we are going to work on these 2. Well, one for sure, and then the other. I'm going to work on getting some good ideas in my head for what we're going to do for it. So anyway, if you guys have any suggestions or things you want to see, let me know. Leave me a comment, shoot me an email. And I will definitely take your opinions and suggestions into consideration as we're making this. And yeah, so I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I will see you next time. Bye.